What's good, y'all? Real quick, happy Thursday. What do I want to talk about right now? I want to talk about keeping options open and staying not fully committed. Now, here's why. If you commit to a plan and you have to back out of that plan, that could cause issues. For example, easy example, if all your friends are talking about let's go out fucking this weekend and you're like, yeah, let's do it, and then you back out and like it kind of causes a cascade of issues, they're gonna be mad at you. I mean, that's a very simple example, but it's a very common example. So my point is it's good to keep your options open and do not commit fully to a plan or fully to an idea, because it can cause issues in the event of the backing out of the plan. And nobody wants that. You don't want to cause complications. You want to prevent complications if possible. Because I was texting my friend earlier who I went to college with. I was like, yo, you still running? Blah, blah, blah. And we were talking a little bit, and long story short is he, like several months back, he was talking to this girl who he kind of liked and she kind of liked him, but at the moment now they live in different states, so it's a little more difficult. Like he said, like we both kind of liked each other, but she was a little hesitant, and perhaps he was too, a little hesitant to move forward because they lived in different states and it was kind of more difficult. And then he was also like texting me about how he's going on like another like a little coffee date with this other girl soon. And I was like, dude, I mean, the thing is, I said to him, I was like, well, bro, keep your options open, be patient, and like do what's best for you. Do what you think is your best plan. Like, what do you think? Do what suits you the best. That's what I said. He was like, exactly, brother. Like, that's it. So try to keep your options open, because that's one case where it comes to relationships, is like, not saying that you should be juggling different relationships like in that sense, but I mean, like, it's good to keep your options available to you, because when you have less options available and you're on a narrow path, life becomes more stressful and it's more difficult. Because if you have more options available, that means you have more decisions to choose from. Sometimes it can be the opposite, or if you have too many options, you go, oh shit, what do I do? But if you can have a couple of good options at your disposal, I think that's great. It's like, find that balance between, you want to have availability, but maybe too much availability is not good. So find that balance of the in-between. But ultimately, I think it's better to have more options than none. And I think where this brought my next thought was, okay, so you want to have more options at your availability. How do you do that? Well, if you can be more open in terms of opening your perspective, that can help with opening up more options as well. Because if you open up your perspective in terms of the way you think, being more open-minded as opposed to more narrow-minded, if you can be more open-minded, you can recognize that there is more options at any given moment. Oftentimes right now, I find myself at work sometimes thinking like, sometimes at work it's easy to get caught up in the monotony of the daily tasks that you're doing so often and so much of, and saying, wow, this is what I'm doing right now. But literally, if you just take a step back, take a deep breath, and open up your perspective a little bit to what's all around you, around the world, you can say to yourself, okay, this is not permanent, I can change this, and there's more options that are available than I perhaps recognize. So I think that's where it is beneficial if you can open up your perspective to the other options that are available to you and all of us around ourselves. So you can go talk to people, go read a book, go listen to music, or perhaps cut out certain things as well in your life, all of which can help you to relax your mind and open your perspective. Ultimately, what this will do, the way I see it, is if you can be more in harmony with nature and with yourself, you can get in tune, get into a good rhythm, which further enhances your life, and it can take you to places that you perhaps thought were not possible. That's what I want to do. That's what I want out of more people. So, keep your options open, keep your mind free, and remember that this is a universe of mystery that we cannot solve with just pure mathematics. Remember, y'all, you can't put numbers on everything. Some things just you can't explain. You can feel it. You can feel it intuitively. You can get a sense, intuition, feeling. You can kind of develop that. Don't forget about that part of yourself. So get in tune with yourself. Try not to overthink things. It's important to stay relaxed, clear mind, and allow the ideas and the information to come to you in a relaxed manner. Be an antenna for the divine creativity of the universe of which we live. Because there's energy and there's the unexplainable spirituality in parts of us which we don't know anything about, but of which we all contain, and of which we can all draw inspiration and creativity from. So I think this is something that we got to do more of. Get more in tune. Crazy enough, recently, I think it was just 3 days ago to this day, an already pre-recorded interview with Jeffrey Epstein, and I forget who the interviewer was, but it was Jeffrey Epstein who was being interviewed. And yes, I know he did horrific things, but financially and politically, he was a very smart person, despite all of his wrongdoings. And in the interview, listen, let me put it this way. Bad person, but he's interesting to listen to. I'm just going to say that. If you go ahead and listen to the interview, you can actually learn quite a bit. He talks a lot about finance and economics and politics. And then it kind of got into spirituality towards the end of the interview. And I very much enjoyed listening to that part about the spirituality. And he was talking about they're heavy into the mathematics and how you can try to mathematize the universe. I don't know how you call it, but you can try to put numbers to everything and try to explain everything to help it make sense. But Epstein was saying that some things just will not make sense. There are parts of this universe that we cannot explain. One of those things that he was specifically talking about, which is the unexplainable and of which we need to take a new approach, is the soul of the human body. I don't care who you are and what you think. One thing that is perhaps very true and likely is that humans do have a soul, although of which is hard to explain and identify. But this is something that perhaps humans do have. It's a part that makes us human. And you can't just explain it using mathematics. It's the unexplainable. It's the parts of the universe of which we don't quite understand fully, we cannot comprehend. So we need to take a new approach and be open to the idea that there's more power to us. I don't know. Just ultimately though, I think where that kind of tangent, that little tangent, I think how that corresponds to what I was talking about is that there's a lot of energy and mysteries to this universe in which we habit, and there's a lot to learn there, because ultimately we don't know much at all. So open up your perspective, live in harmony with nature, feel better. Alright, all. I love y'all. Thank you for watching. Good night, good day, good evening. Peace. Thank you. Bye.